You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion of the world.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Thank you, everybody, for downloading and or tuning in to this podcast for Rights and Wrongs in Pro Wrestling with your host, Mr. Green. What you're about to listen to is another one pulled out of the archives with the ninth Marvel of the world, Melanie Cruz, former Resistance Pro Women's Champion. Had a chance to sit down and talk with her about her upcoming in the business, why she was doing it, her aspirations and things of that nature. She was interesting talking to, and of course, over the years, she's certainly grown as a competitor. A lot of you may have been able to have caught her in a few Shimmer tapings. If you haven't seen her live, she's since the point of this interview, has traveled the world. She's been moving along like many of our alumni or guests or interviewees tend to do. Before we go into the interview itself, though, there have been recent things that have taken place, not necessarily women wrestling related, but just things in the wrestling industry. It's sad things, unfortunately. We lost another one of the greats in the business, the Hot Rod, the Hot Scott, Roddy Piper, has passed away. As of this recording, he passed away this past week, Friday during the overnight, I think, Friday morning. In any case, he died at 61 from cardiac arrest in his sleep, and that's always sad news to hear, particularly for people like me who have grown up watching the guy. I honestly can't remember a point in the history of me watching wrestling at all where he wasn't there, where he wasn't around. So it's really kind of an odd feeling. It's kind of like the same way I felt when they announced Robin Williams had passed. It's the first thing I thought was like, wow, he's not here anymore. And that's what I thought with Roddy Piper. It's like, he's not here anymore. This guy, from all points that I ever had access to wrestling as a kid, right up until my adulthood, he'd always been around in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And you're not going to get that anymore, and it's very sad. My first memories of Roddy Piper actually didn't even come from the real Roddy Piper, if that makes sense. I think the first time that I remember seeing him was on the Hulk Hogan Rock and Wrestling cartoon. I was and am still a big cartoon / comic book fan and fanatic, and that just happened to be one of the things that I started watching. Now, I was aware of wrestling at the time, of course, and I don't know if I wasn't as big a fan as I would become, and that cartoon somehow or another helped transition me over to it. I was raised in Atlanta, and Atlanta wrestling was essentially the NWA. This is NWA territory, which of course grew into being World Championship Wrestling. And Piper did work down here too in the Starcade. I didn't catch that, but in any case, the cartoon kind of transitioned me over to just the WWF at the time in general. And the one thing that it relayed is that Piper was the lead bad guy. He was the one that kind of ran the pack as far as the heels were on television at that time. So when I started watching WWF Superstars, because there was no Monday Night Raw then, I think they had prime time in Tuesday Night Titans, and I started looking at those or sneaking to watch them because it was past my bedtime at the time. And I started to see Piper. I started to catch him doing his antics, his run-ins with Mr. T, just the weird and crazy things that he would do. He was always just a very hyper dude. And somewhere over the course of time, he became beloved. It was amazing, but he transitioned into what, not a cool heel. I don't think we can ever qualify him as the cool heel, but he certainly got respect, because I do not ever remember seeing a point where he backed down or ran away from a fight or anything like that. He was very true to character. He always called him, if you listen to his interviews, I don't think he ever used the word wrestling match. He always said, I've been in fights. And that's what it was for him. There were fights. And like I said, at that point, his style, his promo, all of that stuff transitioned him over into just being a babyface. And before you knew it, the guy was like the number 2 babyface in the company, only behind Hulk Hogan. And if he was behind him, he probably wasn't behind by much. And I remember watching this leading up into WrestleMania 3, which was supposed to be his retirement match. Of course, we all know that didn't last. But he was the first one that I also remember that made that jump into mainstream America. Hogan had already been in a movie. He had already done Rocky 3. That was clear and evident. And he was most known because he'd done TV appearances and things like that. He was a pop culture icon. But Piper was the first that I remember that got the leading role for a movie, as because he was Roddy Piper. He had done some smaller things like Buy and Sell. I'm not sure if a lot of people actually heard of that. Go look it up. Check it out on IMDb. You'll recognize one of the guys from Revenge of the Nerds. Hell Comes to Frogtown, which was ridiculous, but it was one of those movies that you watch because you knew Roddy Piper was in it, and it just, hey, you gave it credit where credit was due. You loved it because of the guy, even though it was just a stupid premise, but it was entertaining in its B-movie fashion. Of course, the one that he's most known for is They Live, which would go on to be the cult. Maybe phenomenon is a little hard to sell it on, but at this point, it might be a phenomenon. There's a big following for that movie in the Comic-Cons and the convention circuit. One of the things that was the biggest attraction for that movie was the fight scene, the extra long fight scene that everybody knows by now. There's nothing pretty about that fight scene. Is certainly not anything close to what you would see in Hollywood today, where they have a wonderful fight choreographer. Let's okay, and fights in movies right now almost look beautiful. That fight was gritty. It was ugly. It was a masterpiece of a fight, but there was nothing pretty about it. It was just two guys in an alley beating the crap out of each other, and of course we know Roddy Piper helped put that thing together. He made it for John Carpenter. Him and David Keith put that together to make it look as real as it could possibly be, just a street fight between two guys struggling to survive the fight. And if you don't remember anything off of They Live, you'll remember that. And, of course, the famous line, which would go on to be duplicated in Stand-Up Guys with Al Pacino and Al Pacino, Alan Arkin, and I'm forgetting the third guy right now. It'll come to me. Christopher Walken. There you go. They said the line like 3 or 4 times, and I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. Because that line originated by Roddy Piper in the movie They Live. So Piper has a huge resume in and out of the ring. And, he's a guy that's going to be really, really missed in the business. The Piper's Pits. All of the guys that have these talk TV segments that's in wrestling today, they owe a huge debt to Piper and the Piper's Pit segment. Miz TV, the Cutting Edge, the Peep Show, you name it, whichever version of it that you may have seen. Piper's Pit was the biggest. It was the one that hit the national stage first. I cannot justifiably say that he was the single first one, but he was the first on the national stage. And all others followed that, of course, Talkers, Jericho, or whatever that they may have had. And I just recently read that the final Piper's Pit, which was ever shot at Maryland Championship Wrestling, will be released on YouTube this week, I believe. So you want to keep your eyes out for that. The final Piper's Pit ever. The finals Piper Pit that was on television had Piper, Lana, and Rusev in the segment. And, of course, that's WWE property. But if you want the last appearance of Piper in general, or Piper's Pit in general, you want to keep your eyes out for the Maryland Championship Wrestling release of that. I'm actually pretty interested to see it. And I also know that he has several movies that were in the pipeline that are in post-production. So you may want to catch a couple of those. And pay homage and respect. Of course, we'll all be checking out matches, some of the best that he's had. His series against Hogan, his WrestleMania match, the first time that I ever saw him ever pinned against Bret Hart, because you can. I don't think you can find a match where that guy got pinned before then. He's had a lot of them. His feuds with his own. One of his best friends at the time, Mr. Wonderful, which was just a massive slugfest on Saturday night's main event. And I could probably go on and on and on about the things that he's done and accomplished. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. I'm just kind of reiterating the facts that he was an icon. The guy wore a shirt that said it. He was an icon to the business, and I think that what might have started as a gimmick in the 90s, wearing the shirt, ultimately ended up as true. So he'll be missed. All right, that's that. We're going to move over into the archives now. So thanks for indulging me through that. I really appreciate it. And here's my interview with Melanie Cruz.
We have my very special guest coming on, and I'm going to roll out the red carpet for her. There we go. Miss Melanie Cruz. You're on the air there.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad to have you on. Appreciate you taking time out of your day, time out of beating people up probably, to join us on the air.
Very nice.
Yes, indeed. I was, before you came on, of course, you might have come in while I was in the middle of my ECW rant, or at least the lack thereof, and I won't continue on with that now that I have you on, but I was also talking you up, saying that you are a young lady out of the Midwest, Chicago, Illinois, to be exact. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Born and raised.
All right. Born and raised. Okay.
Yes.
Are we expecting Miss Cruz to make any tours anytime soon? Are you going to leave the Midwest area and venture out to some of those other independent promotions that may be calling for your talent?
Well, there's been quite a few lately. Tennessee has been one of the biggest outside of Illinois.
Uh-huh.
And then I've been doing a lot of stuff with Tracy Brooks, and we've been going outside the Midwest, so it's been fun.
I see. Now, if I am not mistaken, also, I think you had a match, I want to say recently, against one of my dear friends, the great Cheyenne.
Yes. Actually, this Sunday.
This Sunday, okay. I didn't get to ask her. How did that go? I'm going to ask you.
Well, it was in her favor that day, I guess, but...
Are you saying that you won?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying that you won?
No, she won.
Oh,
it was in her favor. Yeah. Can't win them all.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's all right. You just said it yourself. You can't win them all. But I want to go into your history. Sorry. How long have you been doing this?
I actually just passed my 3-year mark.
The 3-year mark. All right.
Yes. I'm still youngin' in the business.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're still kind of fresh in there.
Yes.
And that's a good thing.
Very good.
And you seem to be getting your name, around pretty well for, just a 3-year mark. I'm looking at your MySpace page. Yes, I know some people still use MySpace every so often.
I do too. It's all good.
And I see a poster for Shimmer. And
yes,
on that
Shimmer's
poster,
coming up.
Yeah, and on that poster I see Melanie Cruz, which I would consider a huge compliment.
It is one of the biggest compliments. I have so much fun there.
And you are working with some of the big names in the business as far as ladies are concerned. Just to name a few: Amazing Kong, Mercedes Martinez, Daphne, the Canadian Ninjas, Porter Perez, and Nicole Matthews, Allison Danger. And on that poster, you're there too. How big was that for you that you were included with those names?
It's huge for me, knowing that I'm on the show with all these girls, and it just shows that what I'm putting in, I'm definitely getting back out.
Okay, very good. And I would imagine you have put in a lot.
Yes, every day.
Every day? Okay.
Every day doing something with wrestling, so.
Okay. You have something to train for every single day. I mean, that's a lot of dedication, and probably a lot of things that you have to give up in order to do that.
Yeah, but you got to give up stuff when when you really love something. Wrestling is my life now, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So.
Okay. Now, here's what I want you to explain for those that may not be aware of you, because we're in different parts of the country. You're out of the Midwest. I'm in the South. I'm in Atlanta, and some of my peers here may not know who Melanie Cruz is. So for those that don't know you, if you had to explain who Melanie Cruz is, please do.
Melanie Cruz is someone who doesn't care about the rules, to do anything to win, and just pretty much does anything to get in the ring.
Melanie, you sound like you're pretty dirty in between the ropes.
A little bit.
A little. You seem like such a nice girl.
I can be. It's all about what I want to be.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to give out your MySpace, if you don't mind. I want people to be able to go and look at you and see your page. And for those that are listening and you want to know where you can find Melanie Cruz, or at least see what she looks like, you can go to myspace.com/Cruz, CRUISE53. That is myspace.com. myspace.com/Cruz53. And those are the numbers, not spelled out. It's just the numbers 5 and 3. So do not spell that out, and you will get to see her show page. And I do believe you keep it pretty updated. So if she has anything that's going on in the near future, you should be aware of it via her MySpace page.
Yep. Everything's on there, so.
Everything's on there. All your show dates,
Not the more recent ones, but I keep them updated on there.
Okay. Well, now that I said that, let's just go ahead and ask. Do you have any show dates that are coming up that you can think of? I mean, you might be overbooking yourself at this point, but if you have any show dates that you'd like to share, you know, and you can think of it, please do.
There's quite a couple, actually. My home company, PAL Entertainment, we have a couple shows coming up, but we have a huge show November 13th. It's in Villa Park at the Odeum. We're having quite a few names on that show, and it's going to be our biggest show of the year. But I know that's quite a ways away. We also have shows in Fox Lake this weekend. We have a show in 2 weeks in Elk Grove, and then also Shimmer on the 11th and 12th.
All right.
So, quite a few days coming up.
I see. And you know, that was on your poster, and I forgot to even say that. You are correct. And on the 11th and 12th of September, Shimmer is in the house.
In Berwyn, Illinois.
There you go. And what's that, $20 all per day? Yeah, $20 per day. I guess general seating. So, yeah. That's good stuff. So, if you are in the area, you should go check them out. Your style, Ms. Cruz, other than cheating. You know, you did, well, I shouldn't say cheating. Cheating is such a harsh word. Other than doing what it takes
I like to bend the rules. There you go.
Okay. You like to bend the rules. Is that like, or you just do it because, you know, you may need an extra edge? You actually enjoy bending the rules?
Yes, I do, actually.
Oh,
a lot more fun.
No.
Yes.
Come on. What is with it? You know, every time I talk to you, Cheyenne, and, you know, there's a couple others that I got the chance to talk with, Cindy Rogers, Mercedes, it seems like most of you enjoy bending the rules. What is with that?
Well, there's so many girls out there that are the nice and proper, and they wrestle by the rules. And so I like to be different. I do what it takes to win.
Okay. Well, then we'll give a quick shout out to one of the good girls out there, December. I think she's one of the few that has been a good girl in the ring. So big props up to her.
Yes.
Have you had? I want to say that you two have met in the ring already.
Yes, we have actually up in Indiana, I believe.
Okay.
In Hammond, Indiana.
Hammond, Indiana.
Yes, that's another place to be wrestled.
Should I ask how that match went, or should I skip that one?
Oh, no, it went very well for me.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Fair enough. Now, here's the point where we get to discuss what got you into the business, why you're doing what you're doing. Because as I've stated to a couple of female workers, you know, there are a lot of you that are very good at what you do, and you have done big things to change a lot of fans' opinions about women inside of the industry, but yet there are some people that will still find it hard to believe that a woman, particularly a woman that looks good, would step into the wrestling ring. So the motivation, what was the motivation, or what inspired you to do what you're doing right now?
Well, the company I work for now, I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school with a couple of these guys, and their uncles started this company. So I'd always go and watch for years and years. And they wanted me to join. I wanted to join, but I went away to school for a little bit. When the day I came back, I signed a contract to start training. It was just one of those things that I knew I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure how to go about it until I talked to this company. I mean, I watched wrestling my whole life.
You have?
Yes.
Okay, now here's the question that I usually stump most people on. Can you trace the match that inspired you to, like, you know what, I could do that?
The actual match, no.
The actual
but
match. That's why nobody's been able to answer yet. That's why I asked that question, because nobody's been. I'm just curious to see if somebody's gonna be like, yeah, I remember it was Bret Hart and Kurt Hennig. I'm just waiting to see who's gonna fire it out. But continue, please.
Actually, the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, them two going at it for a half hour, that's crazy. That inspires everyone. But actually, Victoria and Lita gave me the inspiration and motivation. Two girls they stood out. They weren't the model type wrestler. They were the more down to earth, bigger girls.
Mhm.
They kick butt. So.
Okay. Well, I
watching
guess
them my whole life.
I do imagine that they go against the grain a little bit.
I'm sorry?
I do imagine that Lita and Victoria kind of go against the grain a little bit, against the typical thing that WWE looks for. Let's say that.
Yes, correct.
Well, I can see that. I can see how they would motivate you. And speaking of Victoria or Tara, she proved in her, I guess, later stage of her career that she still had some fire in there down in TNA. Hated to see her go. But speaking of that, career goals. Because most people would say that I want to go to WWE, I want to be a big star, or, I can see myself in the knockout division or something. Is there any one place or anything that you would like to do before you say, okay, it's time to hang up my boots?
Well, that's one thing with me. I'll never hang up the boots. As long as I could walk and move, I'll be wrestling. Every wrestler's dream is to make it as far as they can go. I just want to travel and wrestle. My dream was always to travel, and as long as I'm traveling and wrestling, I'm very happy.
Okay. That's pretty open, pretty basic, pretty simple.
Yes.
I guess the traveling portion, I would assume at this point kind of falls in your hands. Now, how open are you to, I guess, the promoters that are across the country that may be looking for other talent, that may want to call you up and say, hey, Melanie, we want you to come out to California, we want you to come to New York or Minnesota or wherever. Are you giving them the open door to, get in contact with you and pull you out to wherever it is that they may need you?
Yes, I am actually. Quite a few different companies have contacted me out of state, and dates haven't fallen in place yet because I have other shows, other bookings and stuff. So, but absolutely, I'm very open to going anywhere to wrestle. I want to see all the different companies out there. So, very open.
Okay. Well, that's good news for you promoters that may be listening to this either live or via the podcast and downloads. Melanie Cruz she just said it. She just put it out there that she is open to travel and to see all the various portions of this country and the various promotions. So I guess the thing to do would be to contact her at her convenience.
Yes, and anyone could get a hold of me through MySpace or Facebook. The biggest means of communication out there now.
That is true. And since I gave your MySpace earlier, I'm going to ask you to give your Facebook so that if they're looking to contact you, they're looking to get in touch with you and offer you some work, they can find you through Facebook. So please give your Facebook.
I don't know the actual URL for it, but as long as you type in Melanie Cruz, make sure it's CRUISE, it's all good.
Okay. Fair enough. We have you now. We're going to get to some of the personal side of Melanie Cruz. First off, who drew this picture of you on your MySpace? You have I guess a Melanie Cruz logo with a little cartoon Melanie Cruz.
My brother actually worked out of Florida working for a T-shirt company, and one of his friends actually drew it on the computer of me. And that's actually my T-shirt right now.
Ah, yes. I do see you with a picture of you wearing that particular shirt.
Yes.
So you're hawking your own merchandise.
Yes, I am.
Well, hey, nothing's wrong with that. Nothing at all. You know, and just to give some of the people the taste of who you are, you know, I was just scrolling through your likes and dislikes and music and this and that. You seem pretty open to most things. I mean, I'm looking at music, like I like all types of music from country to metal. That covers a pretty wide variety.
Yes.
Movies, comedy to horror, that covers a pretty wide variety. The only thing that is trimmed down here is television, is true TV and wrestling. That's it.
I don't get to watch much TV. I'm always going on the go, and so when I have time, True TV is always on, and it's always nice to throw in an old wrestling DVD. So.
Okay, now for those, I always like to focus some of the questions for those that are looking to get into the business. Every so often I come across some, people that go into a wrestling school down here, and, some are pretty grounded. Then there are some that want to be superstars and may not know what matches they should be watching or suggested to watch in order to learn, I guess, the psychology or the pacing or what have you. So when you say you toss in an old DVD, is there anything in particular that's in your personal library that you would say, hey, you should watch this match?
See, I'll be very honest right now. I'm not very good on remembering the matches and the people, but anything old school. I was trained by guys who all watch the old school. They all wrestle old school. And so that's all I usually watch because that's the style of wrestling I have now. It's not like the normal flippity-floppity stuff. It's keeping it basic. I'm a bigger girl, so I can't do the flippity-floppity stuff.
Oh, you can't. You being a big girl, you can't be no more like, 5'8", maybe shorter than that. Come on.
No, I'm actually just shy of 6 foot.
You're what? Just under 6 foot?
Yep. Just shy of 6 foot.
Oh, all right. Wow. Well, you look like you're working a model pose there, so I assume that you might have been maybe a little bit smaller than that.
No, I'm one of the biggest girls around here, so that's why it's fun to wrestle Cheyenne. She's bigger.
Because she can offer you up some competition, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. But judging from what you just said, you're a mat-based wrestler. Is that correct?
For the most part, usually power moves and then more ground wrestling.
More ground wrestling. Since you don't have any particular matches that you can suggest, I'm going to take a different approach. Is there any particular individual that you could say, hey, you know what, Nick Bockwin was an awesome wrestler, Ric Flair is an awesome wrestler, Kurt Hennig, or whoever?
I believe that Jericho and then, unfortunately, Benoit, they had the greatest minds in wrestling, and watching them wrestle and move in the ring is phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Benoit's name gets brought up every so often, and it kind of gets brought with a little bit of trepidation these days, but yeah.
But you can't take away his wrestling ability. His wrestling was through the roof. It was phenomenal.
His wrestling was second to none, without question. Unfortunately, being that most of his legacy is licensed and owned by the WWE, unless you're on the internet or you're looking at it through other sources, you're probably not going to, catch it brought up in, on their television, which basically controls the history at this point.
Right.
But I will agree, if for those that are listening, and I will endorse this one particular match on his DVD. If you get the opportunity to find his DVD, the Benoit William Regal match on the Hard Knocks DVD is probably as good a match as you could have. No storylines.
Yeah. That was a very good match.
The fact that they were capable of getting the audience behind them without the benefit of script or storyline or anything like that to bring them up. It was all between the ropes, and that is the match.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of matches, I know you say you enjoy working Cheyenne, but who has she also been your toughest opponent to date?
She would be, yes. Out of the women.
You wrestled the men too?
Yes.
Okay, well, you don't seem like it might have been a funny story in there or something. You wrestled the men too. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, for me, when I first started wrestling, we didn't have that many girls around in the Midwest that I could wrestle, and so the promoter had me wrestle some of the guys, and which it taught me quickly about the matches and stuff. So I've had a lot of experience working with the guys, and I've always had a guy tag partner, so we've always done a lot of mixed tags, and so.
Okay, fair enough. If someone wants to see a match with Melanie Cruz, where can they go?
YouTube has 1 million of my matches. Our company posts them almost every other week. So if you just type in Melanie Cruz, there'll be at least 20 matches coming up.
Okay. Are they just going up faster than what you can remember? I mean, is there any one match like, hey, this was on YouTube, or if they just type it up and just go down the line, they'll probably find something of yours that is high quality?
Yeah, there's actually a more recent match I just had that I know is on there. It was me versus Juliet the Huntress.
Uh-huh.
Very good match. Very, very good match.
Okay. So we will, in fact, I may take that match and post it on our show page so that if anyone's listening and they are unable or don't know how to go and search and look, or just plain lazy and don't want to look, I will put this match on the show page so that you can have the opportunity to see Melanie Cruz work with Juliet the Huntress. Now, I can only assume that you went into this as the heel once again.
Yes, always.
Are you telling me that you would never, ever work babyface?
Actually, I started in the business working babyface, but
Okay.
I realized I should be a heel right before my first match.
And what gave you that realization exactly? Was it anything in particular? You just didn't feel like catering to the fans or something like that?
Yeah, everyone follows the rules, and so I wanted to be different. All the girls in the company all followed the rules, and I was sick of it. I wanted to stand out and take my own way, so. Melanie.
I see that you are very serious about your love for breaking the rules.
Yes. See, when I walk in the ring, people... I'm sorry?
I said it's not just a gimmick.
Yes. A lot of people don't understand, why in person I'm so nice. But when it comes to wrestling, that's my only focus. When I'm out in the ring and stuff, people are like, you're usually nice in person. When I'm around that ring, it's a totally different world. People don't understand that all I care about is winning. So.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Do you know who your next opponent is?
Actually, in Iowa, September 3rd. I'll be taking on Taylor Made.
Okay.
So.
Do you expect that to be a technical masterpiece, or let me ask a dumb question, are you going to do something that is going to just undermine the authority of the referee and the promotion?
Oh, of course. Without question.
You know, I'm starting to get this vibe from you. You kind of remind me of an Arn Anderson to a degree. You just, I'm going to cheat. I don't care if the people know that I'm going to cheat. You know, that's just the way that it is, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah, as long as the ref doesn't see it, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's
pretty much
true.
what it comes down to.
that is the rule of thumb. If the ref doesn't see it, you can't call it.
Very true.
You are very interesting, Ms. Cruz. I want you to hold for a second, please. I am going to go to this quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish up this conversation with Melanie Cruz, live on the line with the rights and the wrongs of pro wrestling. This is your host, Mr. Green. Stick with me.
This is Mr. Green, and you're listening to The Show.
The rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling as it was meant to be. Ass kicking, take no names, beat the hell out of whoever's in front of you.
This is the Great Cheyenne from the Hellfire Symphony, and I'm hailing from the Nether Void to listen to the rights and the wrongs of pro wrestling with your host, Mr. Green.
Back on the show, this is the host, Mr. Green. Joining me today, Midwest superstar, Melanie Cruz. And she has been enlightening me to her style in the ring, which is just flat out cheating.
Not always, though.
Well, that's not to take anything away from your wrestling ability, because we know that you can do some other things in the ring other than grabbing tights or pulling out brass knucks or however it is that you choose to gain your additional advantage. And prove that, we have posted her match on the show page at the very bottom, because it's a new video. You will be able to see Melanie Cruz versus Juliet Huntress. Go to the show page, blogtalkradio.com/The Wrestling Show, and not only will you be able to see her smiling face amongst other on-demand episodes, but you will see the video right there at the bottom. All right. You all right on that?
I'm here.
He was readjusting there.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yes. You know, I forgot to bring this up because not many people even, and this has nothing to do with wrestling per se. In the movies thing, my favorite movie is Grandma's Boy.
Yeah. Let me see you though. Come on.
Oh, it's hilarious. Grandma's Boy is hilarious, but when I normally tell people that movie is funny, nobody seems to know what I'm talking about.
A lot of people don't know that movie, but I tell them they need to watch it, and I make them watch it with me.
I keep telling us that, man, you gotta watch it. But all they know is from Adam Sandler's company. They don't know is as long as he's not in it, they haven't taken the time to look at it. So that's a free plug for them and the movie Grandma's Boy. It has nothing to do with wrestling per se, but since I saw it, I just wanted to bring that up. So now I am also looking at a picture with you in this banner. Is this your tag team partner, the two gentlemen in the red and white? Or tag team partners, I should say.
Red and white, yeah. Well, those were my former ones. They have bandanas on their head.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's Kanoa and then Rufus Ramon, two very big wrestlers in our company out here. Actually, they decided to play by the rules now, so I don't like them anymore.
Okay. You don't like them anymore. Then I guess we'll move on. We don't want to go off into that. Title aspirations. Well,
I'm sorry?
I guess before I said title aspirations, or at least before I should even ask about title aspirations, are there any titles under your belt so far? Because I know you're relatively new. You say you're 3 years, so I'm not expecting you to say, yeah, I got 15 different titles from whatever. But okay, so none just yet.
No, I've helped a lot of the guys get titles though.
Okay.
If that counts for anything.
You've also worked manager/valet. Is that
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because whenever I've wrestled, I've always been like with a group of people.
Okay.
Usually 2 guys and another girl or something. So.
Okay, so you've been in part of a faction.
Yes. Always.
Okay. So now that you are looking out for number one, shall we say, what's next? Are your sights set on your company's women's championship, or do they have a women's championship? I guess I should start with that.
Yeah, they don't. We actually don't have a women's title yet because I was the first girl to be trained through there that actually stuck around. They said probably within the next year we'll have a women's title in our company.
Okay. Now, being that you are rotating around and you basically have left yourself open earlier in the show to go to different territories, different promotions and whatnot, the opportunity for you to win a championship before that is not ruled out. So, is there any particular title that you would like to go after?
Actually, my goal is to sit on every women's title out there. There's a million companies out there, and whoever company wants to bring me in, I'm going for their women's title. Since my company doesn't have one, I got to go for them.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Every single woman. I mean, that's a pretty ambitious goal.
Gotta have a goal.
Well, yeah, it's a good goal. Don't get me wrong. If anything, I thought you would begin with something in your area. Like let's take Shimmer for example. Shimmer is pretty much within your stomping grounds.
Yes.
And they have a very respected singles title, and they have a pair of tag team championships. So let's start with the tag team titles. Have you thought about acquiring a tag team partner to go after that?
Actually, as of right now in Shimmer, I'm actually tagged with Annie Social.
Okay.
We had a faction with me, her, and Wesna Busic from Croatia. But Wesna actually recently got injured and has to have hip surgery, but she'll be out for a while. But me and Annie Social have just started at the last Shimmer taping. We started wrestling together, so.
Okay.
I believe the 11th and 12th, the people who have the belts should keep their eyes open.
Is that a warning to the ninjas?
A little bit.
A little bit of a warning. Okay, so we put that out there. That the Canadian ninjas should keep their eyes open, maybe grow some eyes in the back of their heads, because Annie Social and Melanie Cruz are looking to acquire some gold.
Yes.
Have you settled on a name between the two of y'all, or are y'all just tagging just for the sake of doing it right now?
We actually just started. We haven't actually thought about that because Shimmer is only every so often.
Okay.
So we both have our other promotions. I know she's in Philly. I'm out here. So when Shimmer comes, that's when we come to reunite.
Okay.
But we will.
Now, tag titles aside, let's focus on the singles championship. And there are two major singles championships in women's wrestling that I am aware of. You may know some more, but I know the Shimmer title is looked at as pretty big, and the WSU title is looked at as being pretty big. Now, have you thought about saying, hey, I'm going to come down to Shimmer and I want to run at the goal?
I believe after this next taping, I think I'm going to probably go in singles, but you never know what happens. I mean,
okay.
Madison Eagle, she's she's a tough girl. She's actually the only one in Shimmer that's taller than me, which I don't like. But
somebody's got to be taller. That's the rules. You know, you're taller.
I know.
There's always somebody that's going to be bigger, taller, stronger, faster, whatever. But
I don't like someone being taller. I like being the biggest, the strongest, and the fastest. So that's right there. She's probably my only competition, besides Amazing Kong, as size-wise.
Yes, that would be a matchup. Melanie Cruz and Amazing Kong.
A lot of people want to see it. It hasn't happened yet, though.
Hasn't happened yet. Well, let's just, hypothetically speaking, if you did step in the ring with Kong, do you think that you could hold your own with her?
I believe I would, at least for a little bit.
Well, hey, you know, you have the advantage of willing to go the extra mile, so to speak.
Yeah.
Do you think you're strong enough to slam her? Because you say yourself, you know, you're just a shade under 6 feet, so you doing it probably is not as far a stretch as some people may believe.
I believe I could if I put my mind to it and got in the right mindset.
Got in the right mindset. Okay. Now, you know, don't have none of these comments come back to haunt you when you open show.
No, I back up everything I say. And but I said I might be able to. I mean, I'm not going to put it down in stone, but I'd try at least.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, I don't want to get you in any trouble. I don't want to cause any issues where you show up there, nothing like that. So, you know, I want to make sure we cover the bases here. Is there anyone within the company or outside of it that is your personal dream match?
Music Victoria, but I know it probably won't happen. That was always my dream.
That's your dream.
I always watched her growing up, and actually it was her and ODB where I wanted to work because they were both the more harder wrestlers per se. But I wrestled ODB in February, I believe. So I was able to wrestle her, and now I'm just looking forward to wrestling Victoria. But we'll see if she comes back and wrestles. So.
Well, you may have to, you know, start a petition to get her back into the ring because she seems pretty settled in not wrestling right now. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. But one half of your dream matches has occurred. You got ODB.
Yes. I actually wrestled with her a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Only one singles, though.
So mostly tag match.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, I'm going to name off a couple of other ones that have shown a lot of promise, particularly ones on this poster, Daphne. Let's start with her.
I've actually wrestled Daphne in the first time I was around at Shimmer.
Okay. Allison Danger.
Wrestled her last Shimmer taping.
So you've been doing pretty well for yourself, huh?
I don't know how I was blessed to be wrestling with all these girls. They know, they've been around, and it's an amazing experience. Whether it's a win or a loss, I still gain knowledge.
Very true. Mercedes Martinez.
Looking forward to it. I have not stepped in the ring with her yet, but I believe that'd be a good matchup.
Yes, it sounds like you enjoy a hard-hitting match, and I know she hits hard, so
yes,
that should be enjoyable either way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who else do we have here on the list of people that you should get into the ring with? In fact, you know, you and Cheyenne should go down there together. That'd probably be a good match in Shimmer. You should take what you know down to that location and tear the house down.
Always.
always your goal?
I'm sorry?
I said that always your goal to tear the house down?
Always. Always, always, always. Do it 106%
Very good.
every time.
Okay, very, very good, very good. Quick plug for you again, myspace.com/Cruz53 if you are looking to see what Melanie Cruz looks like, or if you're listening to the show right now, you go right up to the show page, and I have a picture of her posted as we speak. Melanie Cruz is on the line, myspace.com/Cruz, CRUISE53. And the 5 and the 3 are both numerical. Do not spell it out. And if you are looking for her on Facebook, you can type in Melanie Cruz, and she should appear. So that is for fans and promoters alike. They can find you both ways. Short-term goals. You told me the long-term. And that's for you to go and pretty much dominate every company that you're coming across. Not just dominate, but, I guess achieve the titles. And, again, that's very ambitious, Melanie, very ambitious. But is there anything else that you have on your plate at this particular moment?
Actually, this weekend, the 21st, we have a show in Fox Lake, and it's called our Crowning of the Champs. It's where all of our champions are in one match at once, and whoever pins another guy gains another title, so he'll have two. Two of my guys are in that match on Saturday. So as long as they walk out with their gold plus something else, that's on my agenda right now.
Are you going to make your presence felt at the Crowning of the Champions?
Oh, absolutely. Always do. They know when Melanie Cruz is around.
Does Melanie Cruz have the idea that you may be able to sneak in there and steal a title? Is that possible?
I think so.
I do. Okay. I just get this idea that you might want to run in there and cover somebody while they're knocked out or something like that. I don't know. You seem like that type of person. Like you would take the advantage that is available to you.
Yes, I do.
2 other questions.
Yes.
Gimmick matches. Are you for or against it?
For. I've actually been a couple of them. A couple managing and a couple of my own.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like it excessively, but when it means something, I love them.
As long as there's a point behind you being in the match, you're fine.
Yes.
Is there any one of them that you're like, all right, that's too much, I'm not going to do that? Like, wrestle on fluorescent light tubes and thumbtacks and stuff like that?
I mean, like I said, it has to mean something, like really mean something. I'm not opposed to anything in wrestling, but
just
I haven't had an idea yet that I wouldn't like.
Okay.
Because everything I've seen has mostly had meaning. Like a thumbtack match or whatever, a dumpster match, whichever, like, it all had meaning.
Okay. That's a fair statement. Injuries. I heard you say earlier that you and your partner were injured. I believe I heard that correctly, so I'm going to ask for clarification. Were you injured, or have you had any injuries in your career so far?
I've had my nose actually broken quite a few times, but I haven't had anything actually major. I said me and Annie Social in Shimmer, we had another partner, Wesna Buick, and she injured herself. So now it's only just the 2 of us in Shimmer. But me personally, I've rolled a couple ankles, had a couple banged elbows, but nothing major. So I've been blessed with that.
So knock on wood, you've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
But also able to tell people that there's no cakewalk going into the ring. You do get banged up. You can get hurt pretty bad if you're not careful and if you're not taking care of yourself.
Very, very correct. It's definitely not a walk in the park. our bodies ache every day, but we love it. So
I see. I don't know how you managed to keep going, and I guess the big question is when people find out, because I know you have to come across somebody that is unaware that you're a pro wrestler. And when they find out that you're a wrestler, what's the immediate reaction that you get?
They don't believe me. They never believe me at first. And then I'll show them pictures, or if there's a flyer around, they'll see it. But usually, it's very astonished reaction. They don't believe it. But how often do you meet someone on the street that's a pro wrestler? You know.
Well, that's true. Very, very good point. You don't meet them very often. Do you actually have your promotional pictures with you to say, oh, look, seriously, I'm a wrestler. Here, look at this.
Yeah, I usually have something on me or with me. So, but that's why wrestling. That's why we love wrestling so much, is because it is unique. There's not that many. There are a lot of wrestlers out there. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more people in the world. So, I like being different and standing out. So.
And you do stand out. That being your occupation of choice, you will always stand out in a crowd. And in fact, I guess at this point, with technology, you don't even have to carry the physical picture. You can just upload it on your phone and just keep it as a wallpaper and show people that.
Yep. It's crazy nowadays.
That's right. So the proof is right there in your palm. So we will go with that. So for those that do not believe or are unaware or unwilling to believe that you are a wrestler, you can always prove it to them via your digital technology. So we won't hold you through all of that. I believe I got all of the questions out for you of the day. I want to thank you for joining me on the show, Melanie. You've been a treasure to have on there. I want to give you the open door because at some point I'm probably going to have one of your biggest opponents, Cheyenne, come back on, and it would be great to have you and Cheyenne on here together.
That would be awesome. Thank you very much for having me and everyone listening.
Thank you for listening to the WPN's Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.